Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today's a digital spotlight for Vectoria Designs. It's also a collab with my crafty BFF, Helen, at Crafty Mama Diaries. And we are making some journals today. Now stop. Don't click away, please. This is a card maker's journal. I did not put on my junk journal hat. I had my card making hat on the whole time. So I'm just flipping through here real quick to show you all the different papers. I printed some at full size. I printed some that print 2 to a page, which is a setting when you're printing. And I printed some like this, 4 to a page. Okay, even if you're like, I have no interest at all in making a journal, that's cool. But maybe you love this paper. I wanted to show you this first. So you could print 4 to a page of these designs. And now I chose to tear mine, and I'm showing you can do it with a regular ruler. You can do it with a tear ruler, right? But I'm basically just getting 4 card fronts here. And I wanted these to look like old torn book pages. And some of them are really tore, let me tell you. So I'm actually going to use those 2 as my card fronts because I know I can embellish them and make them beautiful. I'm not stressed about it. So I'm gonna take those 2 torn sheets, the really torn ones, and I'm just gonna tape these down to a card base. And this is not a card making video, but I wanted to give y'all this because in a digital paper like this, you can do so much. You can resize these the way I did to get card fronts. I mean, the designs are so beautiful, there's really not much else you need. You could put a sentiment on a die and call it a day. It's just beautiful. So I wanted to give y'all this, but please stay tuned because everything I'm about to show you, any card maker can do. First of all, I know you all have the supplies I'm about to use. You all can do this. It takes a paper trimmer or scissors, a stapler, and 2 A2 envelopes and some paper. Glue. You got this, ladies, and maybe a gentleman if you're out there. You have totally got this. So here we go. I am sectioning off my paper, and I wanted to show you this. You don't want to use a ruler to tear because you don't want to tear up your paper the way I did just a minute ago. Cool. You can use your scissors and do a rough cut the way I just did. And I purposefully do not cut these in a straight line. I don't make it super jagged, but I don't worry about a straight line. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make a journal that would fit in an A2 envelope because I figure all you card makers have got to have some A2 envelopes sitting around and some paper. Right? So these are 8.5 by 11 sheets. I'm slowing this down. If you fold it like this, halfway at the length, at the long end of the sheet, and then into a quarter, just the way I'm doing here, right? Now I'm going to hand cut these edges, this white border, and get that off of there because I don't like that on there. Okay, open it back up, and you're going to cut across the short side. This is absolutely the easiest way to manage these papers. So I knew I was making 2 journals because it made the most sense making it an A2 size, right? I can get the very most out of all the paper that I use, have little to no scraps, plus you might as well just make 2 if I'm making 1. And this perfectly sizes my paper to fit in my A2 envelope cover that we'll make together. And that is it. Y'all see what I'm doing here? Y'all are card makers. I know y'all got this. So you're basically dealing with card bases as pages. You know, the way you would cut a card base out of 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay, I'm going to go through this a little bit more. I'm showing you there that this design, it makes it very clear, so you might not even have to use your paper trimmers. So in this one, I didn't even fold it in a quarter. I just folded it in half. Okay. Then I folded it in a quarter just because I wanted that crease already there. And now I'm just cutting on that lengthwise line. Leave everything else because these are your pages for your book. Okay, so that's how you cut your pages. Now this kit came with ephemera, and I'm showing you, you could just use your circle punch that you might already have. Don't have a circle punch, no problem. You've got some scissors. You can cut out these adorable little pockets, and I just wanted to show you how to do this because if you don't deal with junk journal kits, you may not have cut these out before, but you just follow the lines, and the darker lines are actually your score lines. So I'm going to bring in my little scoreboard here and show y'all that these lines are to score to make a pocket. And it's just that easy. And all of a sudden you have some cute ephemera and little details to put inside your book. Hang tight with me, guys. I promise. Believe it or not, there's only a couple more steps and we're already done. I made both of these in this video in less than an hour. Okay, here's my envelopes. I picked all different colors. I wanted you to see that you could just be as random as you want to be, and these books are going to turn out beautiful. So these already had some self-adhesive, like sticker seals on them. I wasn't sure if I was going to use these as pockets yet. So what I decided to do was stick a piece of scrap paper to this one because I wanted to leave my options open for these to be pockets on the inside of my book. Okay, but the other one back there is going to stick to the back of this envelope. So you're just tucking it in, and bam, you have a cover for your book, just like that. It is really that easy. Okay, sort out your paper, right? So the way that I'm showing y'all that I cut my paper today, I knew I had paper for 2 books or just a really thick book, but I knew I was making 2. So I'm going to sort all of that out so I don't have duplicates in the same book. I made another cover, and now what we're going to do is put our pages in order. Now this is something I like to give attention to. I actually don't rush myself through this process because I like to think about it. So as you can see, I folded some of my papers so the design was on the front, and I folded some so the design was on the inside. This gives a really nice feel to a book, to a journal like this. It is something that I think you should pay attention to. Give yourself variety. Some of the pages I print front and back, so other pages I only print on one side. That way I do have some blank pages in my book. I also printed all of this on 20-pound cardstock in ivory, just so you know what I was using. All right, so these are our little books. Now we need to bind them together, right? So right here I'm deciding, am I going to have pockets? If you wanted to, you just decorate the sides and don't cover the inside. But I want to show you an even easier way. So I'm taking these that I had printed 4 to a page, and I cut them out, and I'm actually going to use these to go on the inside. So I'm no longer going to have those envelope pockets right there. I'm going to cover the whole thing up and just decorate the inside of my journal cover. So the one on the left is the front, and the one on the back, or on the right, is the back cover inside. Okay, so simple, super easy. Now, I want to secure my paper and make this book. I decided to use a stapler today. Now, I have a long arm stapler because I am a junk journaler too, and I'm a paper crafter, but I wanted to show you right here that actually with a standard stapler using these measurements, you don't have to have a long arm. You can do this with a regular stapler. Now, I was particular about my hinged papers going there because I knew they would hide my staples. So always think about that middle page, whatever it is, because it's helpful. Just think about your center page. I always think about my front page and my center page the most. Okay, so now I did the same thing to my next journal cover. And I was going to show you here, if you don't want to use a stapler, it's all good. you can just tie some twine around this and knot it and make a bow, and it'll be a flow journal where pages can come in and out. Nothing's secured to where it's permanent. With the stapler, it's pretty permanent, right? So you can do that. It's very loosey-goosey. So if you're not into loosey-goosey, you're probably not going to like that. So let me show you another option. I'm going to secure all of these. I'm going to do the stapler again. And those staples are really well hidden within the hinges of that book. Now, if you really like the ribbon look, which I did for these today, then you can go ahead and put ribbon on it, and it helps hide the staples, and we're going to take care of that cover next. So it's really important that if you're using staples and you don't want them to be seen on the cover, that you bind it first with the staples and then you do your cover. I'm showing you there that you could easily just bring in those and decorate. I had some scrap paper from a project I had just finished still on my desk because I have a million things on my desk. And I decided to use it for my journal cover. Now I'm going to show you. Junk journalers, some of them measure, some of them don't. I decided not to measure today. I just held my paper nice and square to my book cover and cut around it. I didn't measure at all. It wasn't like a super precise, step for me, and it worked out perfectly fine. So this is what I decided to do with my cover, and that way you don't see the staples on the outside at all. Plus it just gives a little more weight and stability to the cover of your book. Those envelopes are going to hold. You don't have to worry about it, but this does add just a little extra. So I'm going to glue all of this down. I do like to use a wet glue because it gives you time to shift things around and position things exactly the way you want them. I like to make sure all my edges are covered, everything's aligned very nicely, and I find that the wet glue gives me the best results for that. Plus this wet glue, when I put these papers together, they're not coming apart. And we have a book, guys. I'm telling you, this is so easy and so fun, and I just loved this digital kit. Helen, thanks for picking this one out. It is so precious. I've always loved Peter Rabbit, and so I was so excited to work with this, and I wanted to share my love of journaling with you guys, and I just know that you card makers can do it. I wanted to empower you. You can totally do this. So back here, I'm cutting off just the slightest bit, not even 1/8 of an inch, just a hair of that seal on that envelope, on that top edge. I'm going to bring in this little circle punch. I think it's a 1 inch. Give myself a semicircle, and now I have a pocket back there for this journal. Okay, so let's do this again. I just want to show you one thing. It does help to go off the edge, so I'm slowing this down. I want to show y'all. When you're lining it up, give yourself some room. And here's why. Because especially depending on the thickness of your journal, but like this is just, 10, 15 pages. So I only needed like 1/8 of an inch more, but sometimes you'll need 1/4 of an inch depending on how much more room is needed to cover the journal. So just that is one thing to pay attention to when you're cutting a sheet of paper to go over your cover like this. They do typically need to be a little bit longer. And I would say cut longer and give yourself plenty, and that way you can trim it off when you want. Okay, calling all card making supplies. It's time to shine. This is time to do our thing with our dies and stamps and stencils and ink blending. Yeah, y'all have got this. So I have this adorable stamp set that I fell in love with, and I'll never destash it. I love bunnies, and so I pull this one out every year and use it. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that little bunny in there, and now notice I brought in my tea dye ink. which is a light color. Here's the thing, depending on the thickness of your paper in your journal and if there's bleed through, if I had used a black ink, well, first of all, it wouldn't really go with the theme very well. It would be too stark, but it could bleed through your paper. So like on 20-pound paper like this, you got to be careful. 28 pounds, not so much. Okay, here's a stencil, and I'm just going to ink blend. So like, if you don't like plain pages, I really don't. Like, I like them to write on, but that's why I do this. I add stenciling to my plain pages, and I don't even cover the whole page in it. I just do a little, and it gives me enough that my mind's not like, wait, it was beautiful pages, and then there was a blank one. Which is what my mind wants to do when it sees a blank page. So I added a little stenciling, and then now I'm adding this pocket. And it's just so fun and unexpected to just be flipping through your journal, and suddenly there's a pocket for sticking things in there, like tags and tickets from events that you go to when there's no COVID and stuff like that. So, you know, something else that's fun about this journal size is if you printed photographs at a 3x5, you could totally put photographs in here of your grandchildren. These make great gifts for, you know, Easter, because this is like Peter Rabbit, but it doesn't have to be for Easter. These just make wonderful gifts. So, you know, if you have the time, but maybe you're on a retired budget, you can make someone a beautiful gift in an hour. It delights you. It delights them. I love having junk journals in my stash like this. So when I need a last minute gift, I can pull this out and give it to someone, maybe personalize it a little bit, and they're always delighted. Okay, so I cut some dies out and then brought in these little pieces of ephemera. Well, I cut the hearts out with my dies. And I'm going to tack these down for the cover. The covers don't have to be complicated, you know, or they can be really complicated. It can be anything you want it to be. But these are just so much fun. I hope I unpacked this in a way for you guys that it's completely approachable. I want my card making friends to be able to approach this project and be like, oh yeah, I got that. So here it is. These are the two little journals I made with my card making hat on. I did not have on my junk journaler hat. You don't see any staples because there's nice paper covering it. Just super beautiful from the jump as soon as you open the book. And I just really love these. I love how they turned out. They're so soft and sweet. They'd be great all year. There's really nothing in it that says Easter. It's really spring, and anyone who's a Peter Rabbit fan would love this. So with that one, I don't have a paper clip holding it down yet, but I'll add that. You can add flips and all kinds of tricks, or you can keep it simple like this. I hope you'll try it. Please let me know in the comments down below. Also, go watch Helen's video, because this will be the first journal she's ever made, guys. So I think that's so exciting. I can't wait to see what she makes with this digital kit. And Helen, thanks for picking this one. It was so much fun to work with. And I'm sure next time, guys, we'll be showing you some cards, but today you got a card maker's journal process. Yeah, I think it's great. I'm happy to have this kind of content on my channel. I'm so happy to share this with Helen and with you guys. You know, it's fun to take the supplies you have and open new doors with them. I mean, card making is my heart. I just love card making, but at the same time, it's so wonderful to take all these supplies and go in uncharted territory and make new things and make gifts for others. It really is delightful. I hope you will try it. I hope you will let me know how it goes. If you're on Instagram, tag me. I'd love to see what you make. yeah, so I'm gonna just flip through here real quick and we'll call it a day. Thank you for watching. I'm going to leave Helen's channel linked below with the video for the collab, so go check that out. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.